Cut the crap. Do you want to die? The hot-tempered Zhurong roared, his roar resounding throughout the dark forbidden zone. Dijiang directly transformed into his ancestral magus true body. He was like a chaotic fiend celestial with a sinister and terrifying posture. One could sense the terrifying power contained in him just by looking at his muscles. The mysterious face smiled and said, "Your enemy is not me. Didn't you go to the Heavenly Tao to revive Pangu? Let's not talk about whether you can find it. Even if you find it and revive Pangu, what should you do with the relationship between the living beings of the Heavenly Tao and Pangu? The Heavenly Tao will belong to Pangu? Can the Heavenly Tao's divine might Heavenly Sage tolerate it? Can Pangu tolerate leaving the Heavenly Tao?" His words were filled with mockery, mocking the ancestral magi for being simple-minded. Dijiang asked, "Have you seen our father?" The mysterious face said, "Pangu has died for so long, so I've naturally never seen him. Aren't you the same? Father's power is invincible." "Oh? You mean that if Pangu revives, the divine might Heavenly Sage will not be his match?" Dijiang did not say anything else. It wouldn't be good if these words spread to the Heavenly Tao. The mysterious face smiled sinisterly and said, "Dijiang, oh Dijiang, the era is different. Pangu is no longer an invincible existence. Not to mention those ancient existences who survived the primordial chaos, even the Tao ancestor has already surpassed Pangu. To you, that will be a calamity. The most important thing for you now is to strengthen yourselves and not blindly pursue the power of your ancestors." Dijiang frowned. These words made his heart waver. Indeed, these chaotic fiend celestials had cultivated for countless years longer than him. They were both chaotic fiend celestials. Even if there was a difference in potential, it was not to the extent of great disparity. The mysterious face vanished, leaving behind a sentence. "Join life at any time after you think it through. Life is an equal existence. It's all for the sake of overthrowing the chaos. If the Magus race is willing to help me, you will obtain a status like the Heavenly Tao human race when the Dark Era descends. Everyone, you will be the new Great Tao Divine Spirits." The ancestral magi looked at each other. So, it was life. They naturally knew about life. Previously, they had even fought with life in the heavenly court. Great Sage Void Soul's dark instincts made them all surrounded and beaten up by the 13 lives. They would probably be dead if not for Hanju quickly ending it. In that case, life was still their enemy. Gonggong said in a low voice, "Brother, don't believe him. Who does he think he is? He insulted us and then threw us aside? Ridiculous." The other ancestral magi nodded in indignation. Dijiang snorted. "I naturally don't believe him. Let's continue on our way to the Heavenly Tao." The huge palm continued forward at a faster speed than before. Netherworld, Yamahal. Young Tiandong supported his chin with one hand and yawned in boredom. A deafening boom came from outside the hall, shaking the Yamahal, but young Tiandong did not panic at all. Soon, several ghost soldiers were kicked in and smashed into the wall behind young Tiandong. Immediately after, two figures with terrifying auras rushed in. "Ha ha, brother, this netherworld is nothing much. It can't stop us brothers at all. Brother Jizuan, stop dawdling. Hurry up and capture the life and death book." It was Xiao Jizuan and Qinling. Qinling's cultivation level had begun to increase exponentially ever since he had obtained the 99 Emperor Essence pills, attracting quite a bit of attention in the Divine Palace. Later, he met Xiao Jizuan by chance. The two of them became friends after a fight. Although Qinling was not Xiao Jizuan's match, his stubbornness moved the latter. Then, the two of them became sworn brothers. This time, they had already broken through 18 Yama halls, but they still could not find the life and death book. Therefore, they attacked Yang Tiandong's palace. Yang Tiandong was the great king of hell in the netherworld. He was above the 18 kings of hell. Only souls that contained great karma or extraordinary providence could enter his hall to be judged. Xiaojizuan stared at Yang Tiandong arrogantly and smiled. Hey, king of hell, hurry up and hand over the life and death book. The heavenly Tao is peaceful and we don't want to kill. The ghost soldiers along the way were only injured, but we don't have that much patience. Old man? Yang Tiandong laughed angrily. He casually threw the life and death book in front of the two of them and said angrily, "What are you doing? Hurry up and get lost after you're done." Xiaojizuan and Qinling were stunned. This king of hell was arrogant, but his actions were very honest. Xiaojizuan was about to scold back when Qinling stopped him and said, "Hurry up. There are many mighty figures hidden in the netherworld. It won't end well if this matter blows up." Hearing this, Xiaojizuan glared at Yang Tiandong. Then, he opened the life and death book and started to quickly check. Yang Tiandong supported his chin with both hands and stared at him with a sigh. Time passed really quickly. Yang Tiandong chuckled. "Nothing. I'm thinking about when we'll meet again." "Not necessarily. Some things are destined." "You mean I'll die?" I can't say. Qinling frowned. He felt inexplicably flustered by Yang Tiandong's words. He quickly left with Qinling. Yang Tiandong's smile froze. Why was this dog so hurtful? Yang Tiandong began to deduce Xiaojizuan's identity and secretly noted it down. "Brat, just you wait. You will die in my hands sooner or later. Don't even think about reincarnating and training in the future. I'll let you be a pig or a dog, sinking into the cycle of reincarnation." Yang Tiandong cursed in his heart. He was extremely depressed. Inside the Taoist temple, Hanju opened his eyes. He had been in seclusion for another 10,000 years. He wanted to continue cultivating, but Heavenly Venerate Xian Du informed him decades ago that the 12 ancestral magi had arrived. The cultivation of the 12 ancestral magi was too strong and they had revived in the chaos. Other than Empress Hutu, no one could enter the heavenly Tao. Empress Hutu could only walk outside the netherworld and the 33rd heaven. She couldn't enter the immortal world or the myriad worlds. At this moment, the Magus race and sect Master Tianju were both meditating and cultivating in the hall. At first, they didn't sense Hanju's aura, until a Grand Magus who wasn't cultivating caught a glimpse of him. "He's here," the Grand Magus said softly, startling the ancestral magi. Hanju, who was covered in treasures, had an oppressive aura. Anyone would feel inferior in front of him. "How is that possible? I actually didn't sense his arrival." Di Jian was shocked and vigilant. If Hanju could approach him without anyone noticing, didn't that mean that they would be insta-killed if he wanted to kill them? He would be severely injured even if he didn't die. Di Jian would never forget the scene of Hanju fighting the Despair Dao spirit. He was even more domineering than the ancestral magi. Sect Master Tianju stood up and cupped his hands. Then, he waved his sleeve and a mat appeared beside him. Hanju sat down beside Sect Master Tianju and gestured for the ancestral magi to sit down. "Empress Hutu, long time no see." Hanju began to be polite to her. He started with the familiar people and broke the silence. Empress Hutu smiled. "Indeed, it's been a long time. How many years has it been? Fellow Taoist Han is truly different from before. Your talent is probably one of the best among the chaotic fiend celestials." The other ancestral magi didn't say anything, but they still forced a smile at Hanju. It had to be said that although Hanju's appearance was not loud, it stunned the 12 ancestral magi. Hanju chatted with Empress Huta for a while before asking about the Magus race's intentions. Empress Huta looked at Dijiang. He said seriously, "We want to send a portion of the Grand Magi into the Heavenly Tao to search for Father's will. We will leave once we find it. I know the rules, so we ancestral Magi will wait here and not interfere with the Heavenly Tao. They were once members of the Heavenly Tao. They should be returning home, but now, they felt like guests." Hanju asked, "Panga's will? What is that? All his descendants?" Dijiang shook his head. "We won't touch Father's descendants. As for his will, we're not sure for the time being. We still have to search." Hanju remained silent. He asked in his mind, "Is what Dijiang said true? 200 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue?" "Continue. It's true. What is Panga's will?" 1 trillion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue?" "Continue. Panga's will, a trace of intelligence left behind by Pango when he created the world. It is sealed in the Heavenly Tao. Only someone with the cultivation of the Great Tao Supreme Realm can barely see through it." There was such a move? Could the Heavenly Tao Spirit be Panga's will? Thinking about it carefully, it made sense. For so many descendants of Panga to appear in the Heavenly Tao, there must be a method left behind by Pango. No matter what, the cultivation level of the Magus race was too low. It was impossible for them to sense Panga's will. The ancestral Magi's hearts sank upon seeing that Hanju didn't say anything. They thought that he was going to refuse. Sect Master Tianju revealed an intriguing expression. He was already very unhappy with the ancestral Magi's attitude. Thus, he felt good upon seeing Hanju suppress them. "Weren't you very arrogant earlier? Why don't you dare to say anything now?" The atmosphere became subtle. Hanju looked up and saw that the ancestral Magi were very nervous. He couldn't help but smile and say, "Of course. I was just thinking about what Panga's will might be and wanted to reduce the trouble for you. However, I still don't understand after thinking about it. But it won't make sense if I directly reject you. You can arrange for the Grand Magi to go to the immortal world." The ancestral Magi were pleasantly surprised and thanked him. For a time, news of favorability increasing appeared in front of him. Hanju ignored the notifications and looked at Sect Master Tianju. "You should receive these fellow Taoists next." Sect Master Tianju nodded. Hanju immediately stood up and left. Empress Huta looked at his back and hesitated. The Grand Magi looked at Hanju in reverence. This was the first time they saw the 12 ancestral Magi so nervous. After Hanju left the sacred palace, he returned to the 100-peak Immortal River and continued cultivating. He believed that the ancestral Magi would not act recklessly. If they dared, Hanju would make them regret it. The current him was already qualified to be arrogant. However, he kept his arrogance in his heart and never expressed it in his words. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, another 50,000 years passed. Hanju opened his eyes. He looked over and discovered that the Magus race had already left. Clearly, the Grand Magi did not find Panga's will. Hanju didn't care about the ancestral Magi's mood when they left. It was fine as long as it didn't affect the Heavenly Tao. He started checking his emails. Your disciple Tao Sovereign has entered the 3 pure sacred world. Your disciple Zhao Xinyuan. Your grand disciple Chu Shuren was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure. His soul was imprisoned. Your son Han Tuo has fallen to the demonic path. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your disciple Zhou Fan was attacked by your good friend Li Dao Kong. Your good friend Evil Heavenly Emperor was attacked by your good friend Shi Du Dao. Your good friend ancestor Shitian was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure. Your good friend Dijian was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure. So many attacks. Dao Sovereign and the other two followed Lao Dan. Hanju knew this and didn't find it strange. However, why were ancestor Shitian, Li Daokong, and Shi Dudao fighting with the Heavenly Court and the Great Dao Tower? Hanju had previously learned from Shi Dudao as the Dark Forbidden Lord. Now, he and Li Daokong listened to ancestor Shitian's orders. The three of them brought a large number of life servants and attacked everywhere to strengthen the life faction. Life's attacks looked savage, but they were actually targeting the helpless experts. The evil Heavenly Emperor seemed to have a wide network, but the chaos was almost infinite. The Heavenly Court was powerful, but their wars were only small battles in the chaos. Their only reliable ally was the Great Dao Tower. Thus, they were immediately implicated and beaten up together. Hanju thought for a moment and decided to visit ancestor Shitian in his dreams. Ancestor Shitian had fallen into such a state because of his identity as the Dark Forbidden Lord. Hanju didn't dare to be sure if ancestor Shitian really thought that he was the Dark Forbidden Lord. He still had a good impression of him. Before the calamity, in the entire Heavenly Dao, only ancestor Shitian was worthy of Hanju's identity as an expert. The Dark Nightmare was successfully used. Hanju used his true body to meet ancestor Shitian. The dream was the Great Ultimate Hall from back then. Ancestor Shitian opened his eyes and looked at the huge bright hall in a daze. The Great Ultimate Hall was very lively every time it opened. The Dao Seekers sat in the hall and looked at him with admiration. Thousands of listeners disappeared, leaving only one person. Hanju. Ancestor Shitian looked at him. Both of them had calm expressions. Hanju cupped his hands and bowed. The Tao of Karma that the ancestor taught more than 1,000,000 years ago has benefited me greatly. Ancestor Shitian shook his head slightly and smiled. You're still so cautious. No matter what your cultivation level is, you haven't cultivated the Tao of Karma at all. How can you benefit from it? Hanju was only being polite. He suddenly didn't know how to reply after hearing Ancestor Shitian's words. Are you here for the Heavenly Court and the Great Dao Tower? Ancestor Shitian asked. His tone was casual as if he was chatting with an old friend. Hanju said, That's right. Life abducted the Heavenly Dao sages one after another and now, he attacked the Heavenly Emperor and my disciple. I can't sit by and watch. Ancestor Shitian narrowed his eyes and asked, So, you're here to warn me? Hanju shook his head. How can I dare to warn you? I'm just puzzled. Ancestor, why did you enter life? Ancestor Shitian said, Because there's no place for me in the chaos. Hanju asked, Then, why can life tolerate you? This question had many meanings. Hanju was very puzzled. Wasn't life also threatening the chaos? Why didn't the chaotic deities interfere? Would the chaotic deities let Ancestor Shitian go once life took him in? Could it be that the chaotic deities were behind life? However, he had calculated before that the first life Black Sovereign had no backing. Ancestor Shitian stared at Hanju with a deep gaze, as if he could see through him. Hanju understood calmly. Now that even the chaotic deities could not attack his Dao field, he was really not too afraid. However, it was naturally a good thing to reduce some trouble. Ancestor Shitian said faintly, Perhaps this is a trap. Life is in it and doesn't know. I took advantage of the situation and lived. At least, there was an additional chance of survival. Hanju heard a hint of sorrow. It was a pity. If not for the system and the Dao field, he would have to face such a tragic scene. Ancestor Shitian suddenly laughed. His laughter was filled with disdain. Hanju showed a frown. After Ancestor Shitian finished laughing, he shook his head and said, I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this. I've presided over the heavenly Tao for billions of years and preached the Tao to countless Tao seekers. Now, I'm being pitted by a junior who once asked me for guidance. How tragic and unfortunate is this? However, it's worth it to have one person dare to take me in. I didn't preach the Tao for nothing. Ancestor Shitian's favorability towards you has increased. Current favorability, 4 stars. As he declared war, his favorability increased? Hanju was confused. Hanju frowned. Was he hinting at the chaotic deities? Would he be considered to have cut ties with him if he went to fight Ancestor Shitian? By the way, let me remind you. Previously, I only left a clone in the heavenly Tao. I've been suppressing my cultivation. You have to use your full strength if you want to fight. Me? Hanju opened his eyes. The ancestor could actually forcefully break through his dark nightmare. He checked Ancestor Shitian's portrait and discovered that his cultivation level was still at the mid-stage Great Tao Primordial Chaos realm. Could this be a disguise? Hanju asked in his mind, if Ancestor Shitian uses his full strength, can I insta-kill him? 300 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Not bad. Continue. Yes. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. No. Not stable enough. If Ancestor Shitian uses his full strength, can he insta-kill me? No. He hesitated. Should he go? If I go and stop Ancestor Shitian, will I be attacked by the chaotic deities and the Great Tao Supreme? Hanju asked in his mind. It would have been fine if it was in the past. Now, he was a little angry at Ancestor Shitian's unclear words. A quadrillion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. No. At the same time, he despised the first life Black Sovereign. This fellow was hiding in the dark. He didn't dare to show himself even when his subordinates were killed. Hanju looked at the chaos and quickly found the battlefield where the Heavenly Court, the Great Tao Tower, and life were fighting. The universe where the Great Tao Tower was located was in chaos. The immortals of the Heavenly Court and the cultivators of the Great Tao Tower were fighting countless life servants. The number of life servants was not less than the number of living beings in the Heavenly Court and the Great Tao Tower. In fact, there were even more. Li Daokong was fighting Zhou Fan. The two were on par. Shi Dudao fought the evil Heavenly Emperor, but he was suppressed. As for Ancestor Shitian, he was above the entire battlefield. He sat in the void and kept casting spells with both hands. His vast dermic powers transformed into huge chains that trapped a terrifying black shadow. The inauspicious Divine Emperor. Hanju was curious. What was the relationship between the evil Heavenly Emperor and the inauspicious Divine Emperor? Why did he always help him? Could it be the evil Heavenly Emperor's father? However, the inauspicious evil was not a living being. How could it have children? The inauspicious Divine Emperor was clearly not Ancestor Shitian's match. Ancestor Shitian did not kill him either, as if he was waiting for someone. Hanju knew that Ancestor Shitian was waiting for him. Clearly, if Ancestor Shitian was serious, this battle would have ended long ago. It wouldn't have lasted so long. Ancestor Shitian was forcing him to appear. Li Daokong slashed at the Great Tao Tower, causing a violent sound wave that shook the void. Zhou Fan held the Great Tao Tower and cursed, Li Daokong, your Xinhao King ruthless. Can you act well? Li Daokong shook his sword and tilted his head to look at him with a smile. Didn't you brag about your Great Tao Tower? I want to see if your Great Tao Tower can block my sword Tao. On the other side, Dao was even more furious. The evil heavenly emperor did not use a supreme treasure and entirely relied on his great dermic powers to suppress him, making him very aggrieved. The evil heavenly emperor ignored Dao's anger and focused on Ancestor Shitian. Ancestor, what are you waiting for? The evil heavenly emperor thought to himself. He could sense that Ancestor Shitian was only acting, so he did not dare to rashly kill Dao. His greatest trump card, the inauspicious Divine Emperor, was not Ancestor Shitian's match. He had no chance of winning. He was puzzled, but he couldn't ask directly. The soldier's morale would take a blow once he did. Roar! The inauspicious Divine Emperor roared again. He suddenly dispersed, and Ancestor Shitian's dermic powers chain missed. Immediately after, a black shadow appeared behind Ancestor Shitian. It was the inauspicious Divine Emperor. The inauspicious Divine Emperor transformed into darkness and drowned Ancestor Shitian. The darkness shattered like a glass ball. Ancestor Shitian appeared and raised his right hand, causing a golden river to appear. Ancestor Shitian muttered a strange sound, causing the golden river to emit a strong light and suck all the surrounding dark fragments into the river. After Ancestor Shitian sealed the inauspicious Divine Emperor in the golden river in his palm, he continued to cast spells with his left hand. Seal struck the golden river in his right hand, looking dazzling. The evil heavenly emperor widened his eyes. Impossible! Wasn't Ancestor Shitian also a great Dao sage? The evil heavenly emperor suddenly felt that Ancestor Shitian was so unfamiliar. The previous ancestor had hidden his cultivation in the heavenly Dao? The inauspicious Divine Emperor was sealed. No one was restraining Ancestor Shitian. Would he stop waiting and start a massacre? At this moment, the evil heavenly emperor suddenly thought of Hanju. Should he ask him for help? At this moment, Ancestor Shitian suddenly turned to look into the darkness. The evil heavenly emperor, who had been staring at him, couldn't help but look over. There was nothing in the darkness. The evil heavenly emperor couldn't sense any reinforcements. Li Daokong used the 10,000 life sword. Countless injuries, equipment, and meteors transformed into sword shadows that faced Zhou Fan. Zhou Fan, do you want to beg for mercy? Li Daokong asked teasingly. Zhou Fan flew into a rage out of humiliation and cursed, "What? You still want to kill me?" Li Daokong smiled. "How is that possible? We are old friends, after all. However, you see the situation." He was in a good mood. Not only did he bully Zhou Fan, but more importantly, he saw Dao being beaten. Dao was beaten, while he had the upper hand. Compared to the two, he was even more powerful. How could he not be happy? Outside the heavenly Dao, Hanju appeared on the chaotic heavenly road. He looked at the dark forbidden zone and slowly raised his right hand. "Ancestor, you want to fight? Unfortunately, I'm not going easy on you. I should distance myself from you to prevent me from insta-killing you." The shadows of fiend celestials appeared above Hanju's head and entered his body. Dharma Idol Fusion Technique. After fusing about 50 Dharma Idols, Hanju stretched out his index finger and condensed the primordial divine rage. Then, he shot out the heaven-earth mystic yellow world-piercing sword finger. Boom! A terrifying sword chi tore through the darkness, drawing an endless white line that stretched into the depths of the chaos. Hanju turned around. Pan Xian and Sect Master Tianju appeared in front of him. Pan Xian asked nervously, "Are there enemies?" Sect Master Tianju was also extremely nervous. To be able to force Hanju to attack personally, the other party was definitely very strong. He was at least a great Dao sage. Hanju smiled. "There are no powerful enemies. Someone just challenged me in the Great Dao Tower. Great Dao Tower? Head Xin and Sect Master Tianju were stunned. They looked at each other and saw the disbelief in each other's eyes. The Great Dao Tower was very far from the heavenly Dao. Even a freedom sage could not arrive in a short period of time. Hanju attacked from so far away? They couldn't imagine how high his cultivation was. Hanju disappeared and returned to the Taoist temple. He sat on the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus and continued cultivating. Great Dao Tower Domain. The high and mighty ancestor Shitian suddenly said, "Stop." In an instant, all the life servants stopped fighting and looked up at him. Li Daokong and Shi Dudao also stopped. The immortals and cultivators of the Great Dao Tower hurriedly retreated and caught their breaths. All the living beings looked up at Ancestor Shitian like ants looking at the sky. The evil heavenly emperor frowned and felt inexplicably uneasy. What was Ancestor Shitian trying to do? At this moment, all the living beings felt an extremely terrifying pressure descend, causing their souls to tremble. Including the evil heavenly emperor, Shi Dudao, Li Daokong, and Zhou Fan. A sense of fear and insignificance when facing absolute power enveloped them. They subconsciously turned around. Before their gazes could reach him, a sword chi illuminated the void and collided with Ancestor Shitian with an unstoppable force. Shocking! It shook space and time. Ancestor Shitian's eyes widened as his white hair was blown back. Sword light flashed in the eyes of all living beings. Even their sage sense was isolated. After the sword light dissipated, the evil heavenly emperor was the first to look up. The sword chi dissipated and a huge hole appeared in the darkness. The dark purple alternate spacetime was like a cosmic beast opening its bloody mouth. It was terrifying. Ancestor Shitian floated in the air. His hair was disheveled and his back was hunched. His head was lowered, but his slightly floating back proved that he was still alive. Soon, all the living beings regained their senses. They looked up and gasped when they saw Ancestor Shitian's state. Especially the life servants, they were terrified. Zhou Fan and the evil heavenly emperor looked at each other. They guessed the truth. Hanju made his move. Ancestor Shitian's weak voice sounded, "Retreat." He stood up and walked into the darkness. Li Daokong smiled at Zhou Fan and said, "If we fight again, be careful that I won't snatch your Great Dao Tower. Stop pretending in the future." Humph. Zhou Fan was very unhappy, but he had nothing to say. Shi Dudao looked at the evil heavenly emperor deeply, leading countless servants to chase after Ancestor Shitian. The evil heavenly emperor and Zhou Fan did not order a pursuit. No one noticed that the corners of Ancestor Shitian's mouth curled up slightly. He sighed and said in a voice that only he could hear, "The younger generation has surpassed us." Inside the Taoist temple, Hanju was a little surprised. Although he had held back, he didn't expect Ancestor Shitian to still be able to protect his body. However, it was fine. Hanju had only fused with 50 Dharma idols. Even 10 Ancestor Shitian would be destroyed in body and soul if he fused with the power of more than 1,000 Dharma idols. Ancestor Shitian's favorability towards you has increased. Current favorability, 6 stars. A notification suddenly appeared in front of him, making Hanju speechless. No matter what, the crisis of the Heavenly Court and the Great Dao Tower was resolved. Hanju thought of how Chu Shuren had also encountered something and his soul was imprisoned. He sent him a dream. In the dream, he was under the Fusong tree. Perhaps because he was affected by the evil Heavenly Emperor, Hanju always had some feelings when he visited. Chu Shuren opened his eyes and hurriedly knelt down when he saw it was him. Hanju asked, "Is there trouble?" Chu Shuren was stunned. He hesitated for a moment and nodded slightly. Why don't you use the invocation technique? I don't want to trouble Grandmaster about my grand disciples' matter. I will naturally look for you if an existence with high seniority crosses the line. However, the other party is only a freedom sage. I think it'd be bullying if I asked for your help. Chpter spoke very seriously. Hanju wanted to laugh. He said, then, aren't you afraid of death? Chpter said, no, I still want to subdue him and make him the Buddha world's Buddha. Hanju asked, what makes you so arrogant? I'm not arrogant. I want to use great kindness to reform him. Chpter said firmly. It had to be said that after establishing the Buddhist world, he became more and more like Buddha. When he said such righteous words, he was dazzling and made people want to trust him. Hanju said, don't go overboard. Chpter said, don't worry, Grandmaster. When the hidden sect unifies the chaos, my Buddhist world will bring peace to the hidden sect. What nonsense are you saying? When will the hidden sect unite the chaos? I'm wrong. The heavenly Tao will unite the chaos. The heavenly Tao will not unite the chaos. It only wants to protect itself, understand? Hanju said seriously. He felt that Chpter was thinking wrongly. Chpter hurriedly apologized. Yes. Yes. Protect yourself. He sighed. Grandmaster was still the most shameless. The development of the heavenly Tao was not about self-preservation. It was clearly ambitious. However, this was the true goal. He was lying through his teeth. Hanju chatted with Chpter for a while more before removing the dream. Inside the Taoist temple, Hanju felt despair at the prosperity of the 100-peak immortal river and suddenly felt so unfamiliar. It looked lively, but he felt lonely. His disciples had all grown up and no longer relied on him. You're not sensible. Your master finally became stronger and has a high cultivation level, but you actually didn't give me a chance to show off. Hanju sighed, then restrained his emotions and continued cultivating. He was indeed powerful, but he was not invincible. 10,000 divine authority generals were his greatest enemy now. Perhaps the Tao field could block them, but that would be a huge matter. The entire chaos would definitely pay attention to his Tao field and his disciples outside would not be safe. Outside the 33rd heaven, in the Universal Hall, the sages gathered. The sages gathered around Pen-Xian. He was flattering Hanju. To attack from the heavenly Tao and kill the enemies of the Great Tao Tower from afar, can you really do it? Yangche couldn't help but ask. He had also been to the Great Tao Tower. He was still a pseudo-sage at that time and had spent more than 20,000 years on the trip. It was obvious how far the heavenly Tao was from the Great Tao Tower. The heavenly Tao was already vast enough. It contained billions of universes and countless space-time. Every mortal world could evolve into a great universe and produce countless galaxies. The thought that a sage could cover the heavenly Tao. This was what was called omnipotent in the eyes of all living beings. However, the chaos was endless. Even sages could only spy on a small portion. Hanju's performance was unbelievable. Pen-Xian glared at Yangche and said, of course. Fellow Taoist Han is a great Tao sage. You are only primordial chaos zenith heaven golden immortals with the freedom sage realm above you. How can you imagine how powerful a great Tao sage is? Furthermore, fellow Taoist Han is almost invincible among the great Tao sages. Ko! Li Taigu nodded excitedly. That's right. I even feel that Senior Han is already the strongest existence, just like the Tao ancestor in the past. Therefore, the heavenly Tao did not encounter any more enemies. Many chaotic worlds are even fawning over the heavenly Tao. Isn't this because of Senior Han's powerful strength? Zhang Guxing stroked his beard and sighed in his heart. At this moment, Heavenly Venerate Xian Du appeared. The sages sat back down. Heavenly Venerate Xian Du scanned the surroundings and said, I just learned that the Heavenly Court and the Great Dao Tower were attacked by the Life Faction led by Ancestor Shitian, Shidu Dao, and Li Dao Kong. Fortunately, the Heavenly Dao Divine Might Heavenly Sage took action and almost killed Ancestor Shitian with a single strike. The Life Faction was defeated. This battle caused the Heavenly Dao to shake the chaos. The Life Factions near the Heavenly Dao retreated and are no longer probing for information about the Heavenly Dao. The sages were in an uproar. Pan Xian was smug. You still don't believe me? Heavenly Venerate Xian Du smiled and said, this battle has once again made the Heavenly Dao famous. This is not the first time fellow Daoist Han has severely injured the Life Faction. The name of the Divine Might Heavenly Sage will definitely spread even wider in the future. The Heavenly Dao will also benefit from this. I brought all of you here this time to spread some legends about the Divine Might Heavenly Sage. This time, my goal is the chaos. In any case, the grudge between the Heavenly Dao and the Life Faction is already irreconcilable. There's no need to be wary. We can turn the Divine Might Heavenly Sage into a guardian of the chaotic order. The Life Faction will definitely lose at the Divine Might Heavenly Sage's feet. The old sages nodded, while the new sages felt strange. So those legends were deliberately spread by sages? Yang Che felt that the faces of the sages were so ugly, but he felt very good when he participated. This feeling of dominating all living beings was too wonderful. Heavenly Venerate Xian Du began to talk about the various battle achievements of the Divine Might Heavenly Sage. It was very exciting, as if it was all true. Fang Liang and Su Qi had strange expressions. If they didn't know Hanju's personality, they would have thought that it was true. After a long time, get latest Oval Chpters on MVE, LBJN. CM. The sages noted it down after Heavenly Venerate Xian Du finished speaking. I called you here today because of something else. The Divine Robe Daoist told me that he wants to give the Heavenly Dao an opportunity. It's a chaotic sea of fire. This sea of fire is extraordinary and contains the chi of creation. It can be used to forge supreme treasures. The Heavenly Dao will attract countless chaotic cultivators to create Dharma treasures if we can control this sea, Heavenly Venerate Xian Du said slowly. Su Dudao clapped his hands and said, this is a good thing. But can we believe the Divine Robe Daoist? Doesn't he want such an opportunity for himself? Heavenly Venerate Xian Du said, the Great Dao Divine Spirits can't directly control creation, or it will be considered crossing the line. However, it will definitely benefit him if he controls the Heavenly Dao. It's equivalent to indirectly belonging to him. The sages fell into deep thought. Heavenly Venerate Wufa said, you can agree. Although the Heavenly Dao is willing to accept chaotic living beings, we will only accept those who are in trouble. If you want to attract geniuses or mighty figures, you have to have something that truly tempts them. It can't just be the right to stay in the Heavenly Dao. The other sages nodded, but they were still worried about the Divine Robe Daoist. After all, he was once an enemy. Leave this matter to me. I have a better chance of escaping than you even if the Divine Robe Daoist has a plan, Pan Xian said. He really knew how to take advantage of the situation. The sages cursed silently, but they did not dare to snatch this opportunity. It was indeed too dangerous. The Heavenly Dao sage's immortality was only in the Heavenly Dao. Most of the time, they would not leave the Heavenly Dao. Heavenly Venerate Xian Du said, that's settled. Seeing Heavenly Venerate Wufa speak, Heavenly Venerate Xian Du felt at ease. They were all family. Why should they suspect each other? Of course, he did not dare to say this. Because he didn't know what method Hanju used to make the enemy willing to be his slave. This method was definitely not simple. Once he was exposed, he would definitely offend Hanju. Heavenly Venerate Xiandu had always been careful around Hanju. The two of them seemed to have a good relationship, but Heavenly Venerate Xiandu never dared to relax.